What's up, guys? Welcome to Counter Cause. We're back with one of our favorite guests. Dr. John Ganino's back with us today. Thank you for coming back on.
The Crusader.
I love
The
it.
Crusader.
Love it. Thanks, guys, for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So, once again, we have plenty of stuff that we can kind of dive into. I want
Lots
to
of
follow
stuff.
your lead on this. Where do you want to take it?
Just because it's such a prevalent thing, and it being 40% of the population, including my own wife and daughter, are sensitive to gluten. And gluten exposure is like a Chinese water torture type of a situation. In other words, again, working from our previous show, we're going to entertain the possibility that big medicine is all about greed and how do we make as much money as possible. If our wheat, barley, spelt, and rye is genetically modified to the point that when it's entered into the body, our body doesn't recognize it, so it starts to attack self.
Yeah.
Creating $350,000 cancer patients, as well as a need for the $5,900 a month autoimmune drugs that they're shoving down our throat on TV all day. Our other show, we were talking about invented diseases. So we talked about high cholesterol is an invented disease. We talked about preventative chemotherapy is an
real
invented
quick,
disease. Yes, sir.
For anybody who hasn't caught this other show, when you say invented disease, tell people exactly where that idea comes from.
Well, again, I think the idea comes from greed. In other words, we have a very lucrative diagnosis called coronary artery disease that can lead to, $6,500 heart cath, $256,000 quadruple bypass graft. How do we preserve that business? I have an idea. Let's vilify cholesterol. Let's just take a naturally occurring substance that's important for hormone production, for cellular integrity. Let's make a villain out of that. Keep everybody focused, distracted, and scared over there, and keep them distracted from the real cause of heart attack and stroke, which is inflammation or how sticky your arteries are. So that, to me, is an invented disease. Preventative chemotherapy, there's no such thing. It's an invented disease. If you have node-positive disease, you should potentially consider doing chemo. If you have node-negative disease, you're cured, and you should be praising God for your cure. I was watching TV about a week ago or so, Penn State against Notre Dame football. Of course, you can probably figure the advertising in such a thing, since 25% of the population of the country is probably watching this game, that the advertising is probably not particularly cheap. And then I'm watching an advertisement for an eye drop, y'all. Quote, that treats the most. I'm reading this because it's an invented disease, so I have to read it because I don't have it memorized yet. That treats the most common cause of dry eye, called too much tear evaporation. Okay, there's no such thing as a diagnosis of too much tear evaporation. The truth is, we'll call them the evil entity, if you will, purposefully genetically modified God's wheat, barley, spelt, and rye, so that 40% of the population, when they ingest it, will end up with some kind of an autoimmune disease. The situation that's being described is called conjunctivitis sicca. In other words, the gluten thing can attack in various ways. Some people will have thyroid cancer. Some people have breast cancer. Some people have celiac disease. Some people have ulcerative colitis or Crohn's. Some people will have psoriatic arthritis. There's different ways that the gluten allergy, if you will, can manifest. One place that it can attack is in the production of tears. So you can take, I did manage to write this down. You can take the advice of this commercial. The cost of one small bottle of this eye drop, quote, depending on your insurance, can be as little as $750 a month or as much as $1,300 per month. Or
and this only function is to regenerate
just to
tears?
just to keep your eyes lubricated.
Wow.
Or we could, for pennies, we can buy an over-the-counter natural tears and keep our eyes lubricated with an eye drop that costs pennies. And we can also attack the cause of the problem, which is eating gluten.
Yeah.
And so remove that from your diet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is obviously more for our American viewers because, you know, in
100%.
Italy, right, their countrymen can eat pasta and not necessarily be challenged with gluten issues because of the way that they would make the pasta, slower processing, ancient grains, right?
100%
Right.
accurate. Not only their countrymen, but our countrymen that go there
Can enjoy it.
I mean, I hear it all the
Yeah.
time. I go to Italy or Spain or whatever.
yeah.
I eat what I want. I don't
I
have
hear it
any
constantly,
You
problem.
don't feel really, because I've never been,
Nah.
I haven't had the luxury to go there yet. I want to, but
Yeah.
I've always heard that you don't feel like this.
No,
Yeah.
and
not
that's
super
exactly what
full,
they
you
say
just
when they
feel-
come back. They're like, "Yeah, didn't bother me in the least."
Man, you know that again. That just upsets me because again, the candy over there, they don't have all the nasty ingredients that we have here. It's illegal there. And then wine. I do like red wine. And my wife, she will get really bad headaches, and I will get acid reflux. We have found that if we have an Italian wine,
Doesn't do you.
You don't really have all these tannins and things like that have these issues. Same thing with the olive oil.
Yeah.
I think we may have talked about
About
this,
that?
but if you have olive oil that is sourced with one region in Italy,
Mhm.
Single region.
single region,
Okay.
rather than if you have like Italian olive oil and it's
Yeah.
processed in America or somewhere, and it's multi-region, I guess. It
Yeah,
has, like,
well,
5 or
you
6
can see
different
on the-
regions.
You can see on the back of the bottle, they pull them from Tunisia,
Yeah.
from Spain, you
Mm.
know, and you have
It's
to
not the
find
same.
single
Your body will
source or
tolerate it completely
Interesting.
differently.
single
That's,
orchard.
That is very
And it's
interesting.
things like that. I think, like we talked about on the last show too. It's things like that that really make you say, "There's really no other way to think about it. How we're handling health in America outside of greed.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
'cause
just
when-
it's really the only way that
Yeah.
any of this makes any sense. It's
Yep.
just
That's right.
silly when all this isn't happening with other countries.
Yeah.
So
Is Dr. G, is the feeling of fullness that Mark was talking about, the lethargic feeling you get after eating the starches here? Now, that's not from the grains specifically. It's from the insulin dump that your body gets to get rid of the toxins. Is that more so correct?
Could be either one.
Okay.
Yep.
either or.
And because
Either
it's
or.
a little
Okay.
bit cleaner over
Either
there.
or both.
Because I read an article of a lady who she wore a continuous glucose monitor, and it would alert her when it went over a certain number.
Interesting.
Mhm.
And this number was because it triggered an insulin release.
Yeah.
And so every time she ate over in Italy, it didn't matter what she ate, it never got above 105 or something. And then the second she had a pasta back here in the States, it hit
just
130 and
spikes.
she got the
Interesting.
insulin dump.
Interesting, man. Yeah.
Man,
Portions could
wouldn't
be
it be
smaller
cool
too.
just to drink wine and
Yeah.
eat pasta all the time?
Yeah.
Not have any issues?
Right.
No, I mean, I do
Yeah.
have a
Move to Italy, right?
totally. I mean, I do. I know a friend of mine who has a pretty bad gluten intolerance and can't eat bread, pasta, anything here, like we talked about. And they go to Italy a lot for family, and
No problem.
no issue at all. No, like, not that it's not as much of an issue. It's no issue at all,
Wow.
and that's bizarre.
That's
you know,
impressive. That's
Back to what you were
impressive.
saying is, so since we are here in the States,
Yeah.
and you do want to have ingredients that have gluten,
Yeah.
and your
Sure.
eyes get dry,
Yeah.
you can
Sure.
get this prescription for $2,300 a month.
Exactly.
yeah.
yeah, that is absolutely
horrible.
That's insane.
Or then
That's
you have to go
insane.
on these.
Too much tear evaporation doesn't exist. No such diagnosis. They made it up. Mhm.
Where
And the
do
side
you
effects
see-
is you could take this, but then your left toe might fall off, or
Where do you kind of see all of this heading? I mean, are there more products being produced like this, or do you kind of feel like there sort of is this holistic shift happening right now?
Wow. Man, that is, boy, I'll tell you what, guys, what a fabulous question, because it is so 100% pertinent and potentially no more pertinent question than what Evan just asked. Is it, there's a certain subset of the population that always wants to take the easy way out and never be introspective, while there's an enlightened group over here that's going to lead and pull these people with? I don't know. And I honestly, I think I do believe that the light will we'll bring those people along.
Yeah.
And that's God's intent, I think, right?
Yeah.
In the kingdom, we're all
Yeah.
connected, right? And so, yeah, I'd like to believe it's shifting. Obviously, we talked about the fact that our country spends more money on healthcare than any country in the world, and we're the 35th healthiest, but it used to be 37th healthiest. So I think there is, a little
bit of a
a
tick
little bit
going
of
on.
a
Yeah.
and then of course there's that, what do they call it, tipping point, and so we'll see, and I think we can continue to stay in prayer that that God's going to continue to show up big, and use humble, kingdom-minded people that are kingdom first, and all these things will be added unto you types to help with this transformation.
Let's talk about men's health.
Okay.
You and me were talking backstage. I am 42 years old. I'm generally in pretty good
Dude,
health.
you looking good, buddy.
Oh, thanks,
You're
man.
looking good.
I
Man.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Cheers. Thank you.
Don't make it weird, guys. Don't make it
I
weird.
just make it even weirder.
Love my bro. Love my bro.
Maybe lift it up a
too
little
is
bit.
awesome.
Hey, there we go. Now we're getting it. But I was talking to you about this. I feel like I've never really done any kind of prostate test. I've never done any of these things that are typically recommended at my age now. As somebody who's 42 in decent shape, who's, accumulated a decent amount of toxins. I don't think anything really crazy. I've always been, pretty generally I've put a good amount of emphasis on good food, organic eating, staying hydrated. What do you recommend for somebody like me?
Yeah, what a again, spot on question. So, yeah, we talked about colon cancer and prostate, and these are things that typically, we see in men. Typically, females is thyroid, breast, and ovarian and uterine. Men is usually prostate and colon. Much of big medicine I don't agree with, but a couple years ago they moved the baseline screening for colon cancer from 50 to 45, and I am in agreement with that, and I'll tell you why. Tim, super nice fella from Canton, Texas, 2 boys, died from colon cancer at 42, and Jonathan was 39 with a son and a daughter.
What?
So yeah.
Goodness.
So again, in my opinion, it was. I mean, it's not their fault. These guys were kind of like Evan. They're just basically otherwise healthy people.
Yeah.
But they are part of the 40% of the population that's sensitive to gluten, and so it wore them down, like Chinese water torture, and that's something that we need to probably.
You think that's a good thing to do?
Yeah, I do think that's colonoscopy at 45. Cologuard's a good test. We were talking about it. I actually just did one last Sunday myself. Cologuard is non-invasive. It's just a DNA test of your stool. If it comes back negative, there's a 1 in 1,500 chance that you have cancer, so pretty good odds that you don't. And as we were talking, if it's positive, it doesn't mean that you have cancer, but it does mean that you go on for the colonoscopy. So that's colon cancer screening. Prostate, a lot of men are affected by it. My own father died from it at 66. I do think it's primarily a fungal etiology to begin with. Fungus makes you more acidic, and acid pH is where cancer grows good. So again, your fungus creators are antibiotic, steroid, living or flying at altitude, or eating sugar. So when I fly, very pertinent, because I just did both of these things recently. It's the Christmas holidays, or right after the Christmas holidays. So I flew and I ate sugar. So when I returned home, I started on nystatin orally to decrease the fungus in my gut.
Yeah.
And then I ran, just finished this week, running 3 IVs for fungus. One we call hydrogen peroxide, which is honestly a lot of vitamins and minerals with a little bit of peroxide to kill candida. Diflucan, which is, of course, big pharma for fungus. And ozone, which we have a lot of utility for IV ozone. And so, just whap on fungus when I fly or do that kind of stuff. So
okay, so because at some point it's inevitable. We're gonna have to, you're gonna get sick. You have a bacterial infection, you gotta take antibiotics. You're gonna travel. You're gonna eat.
Yeah.
Somebody might have a medical condition where they have to take steroids for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
Once you're done, detox.
Yeah.
Correct the course.
100%.
Get back on.
Probiotics.
Probiotics,
Probiotics,
digestive
fungals too,
enzymes,
you think?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for individuals who are better with some type of grains because of the glycogen and the glucose and things, if you go on like a gluten-free diet, what grains and stuff are you staying away
Yeah.
from?
So again, fantastic question. And there is a definitive test to see if you are in the 40% of the population that's sensitive to gluten. These are all capital letters, HLA, and then there's a space, DQ2 and HLA DQ8. So you can check those if you want. Now, truth is, if your insurance doesn't cover it, that's about a $700 or $800 test. Most of our patients, for $0, just remove gluten from their diet.
Yeah.
So you can't hurt yourself by taking
It's
it out.
probably not a bad idea, just in general.
for-
Not
right?
a bad
So if
idea in
somebody-
general,
yeah.
but Mark is saying, if you are in this 40%, what are the grains you're avoiding? Wheat, barley, spelt, and rye. So again, everybody, I think you guys are figuring it out. I'm a little jaundiced towards this greed, philosophy, if you will. So let's take it step by step. Okay, let's just say we want to get super rich off of sick people. What's our first step? Well, our first step in the 1980s is to create a food pyramid that has what at the bottom of it?
All the
Grains.
grains.
Thank you, Brett.
So
8 to
bad.
10 servings a
Yeah,
day.
there you go. So let's
God,
create.
can you imagine?
You create the.
I did it. I was
the-
sick all the time as a kid.
I bet,
Perfect.
I bet.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Put grains at the bottom of the food pyramid. Number 1, brainwashing.
Yeah.
Number 2, genetically modify God's wheat so that 40% of the people will react to it, and it'll be a chip
Yep.
away. We're not sludging people in the head with a sledgehammer to create business for our hospital. We're just slowly creating it,
Sure.
so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
Right. So that's
But you
the
can rock
mechanism.
with like rice.
Rice is okay.
Rice is
Mhm.
okay.
And again, let's talk about rice. Wild rice best,
Uh-huh.
brown rice second, white rice third.
White rice.
And it all has to do with fiber,
Yeah,
right? The more fiber a food has, the more it holds the sugar and releases it more slowly into your bloodstream.
Now, can you take like a?
Oh, interesting.
Okay, so with that, can you take a fiber supplement and do the same thing?
It won't change the white rice.
If you're
no.
not getting it enough in your diet,
Yeah, sure, 100%.
supplement fiber.
Like apple pectin or something like
Yeah.
that.
That's
help-
interesting about the white rice, though. I always thought white rice, isn't it just a form of bleached brown rice? Right? I always thought that was like the problem with it.
I think it's an actual separate plant.
Is it? Okay,
But
okay.
I don't.
You would-
don't
you would-
quote
no, no,
me
no,
on
you
that.
would- you would know
I
much,
don't
much
know.
better than I would
I
on
think
that.
it is different.
Okay, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
rice. Yeah,
Yeah.
Interesting.
But complex carbs,
Yes.
simple carbs.
Yes.
the
That's huge.
The digestion, the sugar, legumes.
Let's talk about complex carbs, simple carbs.
Yeah, let's do that.
Every single tissue in our body can burn fat for fuel with the exception of 2 tissues. Number 1 is your brain, and number 2 is your red blood cell. Guess who runs the show in the human body?
The brain.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So you must have carbohydrate. Now, to Mark's point, the healthy carbs are going to be fruits and vegetables versus white rice, white potato, white pasta, and white bread. And those are going to be, there's no fiber, so it's highly sugar and
Mhm.
feeding fungus. Fungus makes you more acid. Cancer grows good in acid.
Hmm.
Doug Kaufman's The Fungal Link,
Yeah.
right? That's what he's talking
pops.
about.
But do you think
That's what he's talking about.
in that regards of the simple and complex, could you have a balance to where you could have some meals or some days where you eat white rice over brown rice or white potato over?
If
you're healthy enough to do it?
If you're an athlete, my dad was a wrestler back in college, so
Oh, cool.
they had
That's
to cut.
cool. That's
They
cool.
had to cut weight and all the
Yeah.
stuff, but then on game day, all those they've got just trays full of sliced oranges, right? Because what are they
Okay.
gonna? Yeah, before their match.
I thought you were going to say bread.
Once
or
you weigh
something.
in,
yeah.
once you weigh in, you can start eating.
Yeah.
So these guys are carb loading, right?
Sure.
So they've got quick sugar energy for takedowns or whatever else they're doing out there on the mat. So, I think if you're an athlete and you are getting ready to go do an athletic event, I don't think that's going to hurt you because I think your body's going to preferentially burn that. It always does preferentially burn sugar over fat. It's once those
you're just laying around,
get
and you're wanting to
get
eat
exhausted, then the body switches over to fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, if you're just laying around and you eat something that's sugary, well, that'll be, if you're not using it, it'll be converted to fat.
So real quick, I want to back up for just 1 second here. Brett brought up a really interesting video I want you to watch. So this is Andrew Huberman and Dr. Peter Attia.
Yeah.
Prostate cancer.
About a 1 in 6 chance of dying.
Okay, so is it true that every male gets prostate cancer? In other words, on their deathbed,
every man will die with prostate cancer, and some will die from it. You and I have prostate cancer right now.
Thank you for informing me.
Yes. Hopefully we will not die of it. We should not die of it. Prostate cancer, colon cancer are cancers that no one should ever die from because they're so easy to screen for. They are so easy to treat when they are in their infancy. That it's totally unacceptable that people are dying from this. There are other cancers for which I can't really say that. Breast cancer, much more complicated. Pancreatic cancer, much more complicated. Glioblastoma multiforme, much more complicated. So as you said a second ago, cancer is not a disease. It is a category of diseases. It's not just that each organ is different and breast differs from pancreatic. It's that within breast cancer, ER/PR positive, HER2/neu positive is a totally different disease from the triple negative.
So I want to know what he means when he says every man will die with prostate cancer and some will die from it. What is that? Like, is he saying at all times men have some form of prostate irregularity happening?
I mean, I think what he's saying is that there's microscopic cancer cells in the prostate that can't be detected with technology. But as long as the number of healthy cells keeps the number of cancer cells in check,
Interesting.
It's not an issue.
Because don't we, not to cut you off, but don't we, our body's constantly fighting cancer cells already, right?
100%.
If you have a healthy immune system and terrain, you're going to overcome that, right?
So that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the idea.
Yeah.
And as we get older, our healthy immune system becomes less healthy, and therefore the need for more detox. As I was talking about in the previous hour, at age 63, coffee enema, which detoxes the colon and liver, is every Monday for me. When I started my daughter on it at age 17, it was every 4 weeks for her. Why is that? Well, in our office, if you're a teenager or you're in the 20s family, you have a big red S on your chest for Superman or Supergirl, depending.
Yep.
But as you get older,
so with that treatment, you weren't necessarily trying to treat anything specific with her. This was just like general health practice.
General health preventative.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk about more about the coffee enemas, man, because it's very intimidating sounding to me.
Yeah.
I know the importance of it. I know the importance of it, but
put coffee in your butt.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I mean, I understand the importance of it, but how long is the process?
Well,
you need to know how long you need to block off.
Yeah,
for lunch.
I'm just trying to figure out, like,
no, it's absolutely.
is it
Listen,
like
we all run
minutes,
on.
or is
We
it
all
hour?
run on a clock, or
Yeah.
at least those of us that are not retired, we all run on a clock. So,
I'm
whatever
asking-
it takes to brew the coffee. What is that? 10 minutes, and then you add it into cold water, so you take the temperature down. Then a couple tablespoons of baking soda to bring the pH up and make it not so acidic. Going to take me a minute or two to walk to my upstairs bathroom, so I stay away from the rest of my family, so they're not listening to all those funny sounds in there.
Ooh,
Then that goes into the bag. Then you take the bag into your tub, lie down on your left side. There's a little 3-inch attachment that you insert, and there's a little clip there where you flip it up, and then that allows the coffee to come down through.
Cue
And
the
you can
B-roll.
Hang it on a
This is
hook
the
or-
stage that could take longer or shorter depending on how
exactly.
seasoned you are in this
that's
area.
100% accurate, Brett. The first time I did it, probably 45 minutes to do all that stuff, and now it's just a process that's less than that. And once it's in, a key and part of the deal is you want to ideally be able to retain it for about 10 minutes, because it is at that point that those hemorrhoidal veins can then pull up the chemicals from the caffeine to travel to your liver to stimulate your liver to dump
So
to dump
10
the
minutes.
toxins. Ideally,
Oh,
if you can retain it 10
and then
minutes.
how long for it to come back out?
Whatever it takes, another 10 minutes probably.
Golly,
So the whole
man.
process, maybe 10, 5, 15, 25
getting
minutes,
anxiety.
at least 25 minutes, maybe
You're
35
gonna have to
minutes.
skip arm
35
day.
minutes I would block totally.
maybe.
Can you go
maybe
to like
liked
a
it.
regular? Is there clinics to do this?
Yeah, I actually had since you asked, I had a colonic yesterday, and colonic is
Oh,
amazing.
really? Did you?
Yeah.
So you can go do this.
Yeah, well, and it for me historically, a colonic is like it's like four different waves. You see the first part come out, then you
Mhm.
just hang around, and the next thing you know, I typically will kind of rub so your colon begins in the right lower quadrant. So I kind of give it this little rub thing, and then just trace the colon, and it kind of shakes that poop, if you will,
Yeah.
kind of shakes it up so it can come out. So usually, I'll have like 4 different sort of spells, if you will. And boy, I tell you what, you want to feel good after you get off of that.
That's
thing.
what I was gonna say.
I usually lose a pound when I go in there.
Okay.
But one particular time, I lost 4
Wow.
pounds with a colonic. Now listen. 4 pounds of doo-doo is 4 pounds of toxins.
Toxins. Yeah, exactly.
Toxins make you more acid, and cancer grows good in
Right.
acid.
So if you're losing 4 pounds of that, that's a really
That's a good
thing.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing.
I've never done a coffee enema, but I've done a regular enema. I did a parasite cleanse not too long ago, and that was part of it. And so I did that whole thing myself. Just fun as it sounds.
Thank you for not
And
sending me
embarrassing.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna send photos of it. But I did that, and then I did not too long ago. I did a colonic as well.
Yeah.
And man, you are not joking. Afterwards, you
Right.
feel like
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah.
You feel like you can take on the world. Like
Yeah.
you feel
I've
lighter.
always-
light.
I've always been
That's the
scared of
word
it.
I like.
Can you get? Is there a side effects? Can somebody mess up and shoot too much water in there fast and chingale one of your
Nah.
intestines or something?
No. Typically, no coffee enema, no colonic within 6 weeks of having any kind of a bowel procedure or any kind of
Yeah.
open abdomen surgery. I wouldn't
Oh, I'm
do. I'd
sure.
give it 6 weeks.
So if I wanted to go to a clinic, start out, we said once a month. You said? To
Yeah,
go get
I
it done?
actually did the colonic is for me is probably every 3 months,
Okay,
and coffee enema for me is once a week. You're how old?
37
Every 3 weeks for you.
every 3 weeks.
The colonic thing was weird because I was using a machine, and like it's administered by a professional who knows
Yeah.
the right temperature of
All
the
this.
water and like how to
Exactly.
do it all. But I was using a machine, and you could actually watch
Watch it come out.
the waste
Yeah.
come out, and man,
Yeah.
that's a
Did it freak you out?
it's a wild.
It's a clear.
process.
It goes
The
through a
first time it's
clear
just-
plastic
yeah,
tube.
Yeah, it's just odd. It's like, what am I doing right now?
Did
and
it
then
hurt
the
going in
water
your-
comes on. Oh, a little bit. And then like the water comes on, and you're like, what am I doing right now? And then you start watching the waste come out. and
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah. Yes.
Were you in there by yourself?
Oh yeah.
Kenny
oh,
wasn't
yeah.
in there with
Oh
you?
no, 100%. No,
Yeah.
alone. I'm.
Yeah.
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 I'm in a different world at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh.
but I mean, again, afterwards you feel amazing.
Yeah.
You feel healthier, lighter, better, clearer. It's kind of magic. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess it's not. You're
Mhm.
just
Yeah.
taking out the crap that's in you.
Mhm.
literally.
I
You should
wanna
try
say
one.
I
You
wanna
should
give
try
it a
one.
try.
Yeah.
I'd have to go somewhere and have it done for me, man.
Oh no, of course. Yeah, the enema one was way more. It was way trickier for me because I was like the one doing it, and I hadn't ever done one before.
Mhm.
My wife has, and she kind of like told me how to do it. So I'm like laying down and putting things.
She
in
holds your hand.
spots.
Well, wives
No,
are
she was
cool
rubbing
because
your hair.
they
She
are
was
not
rubbing-
fazed
and I was
by
like,
that.
"Leave. I want you." Yeah, no,
They're not.
Not
They're
at
like
all.
they want
She
to
didn't
pop
think it's weird at
pimples. They
all.
want to like
Yeah.
help you with this.
She didn't
and I'm
think
like,
it's weird at
babe,
all.
no, that's
What is it with women and wanting to pop the pimples?
is that what is that?
That's
Oh,
a thing.
That is the thing. Does your wife also do that?
It is masochistic, I think, on its worst level.
I'm
It's
like, Brittany, stop.
just
That's fine.
digging, just digging.
Yeah, we
And
were
she-
talking about that. Like our wives do that to us and our kids all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
Pimple poppers.
yeah, it's like, what are you doing?
There's a show about that.
Well,
There is?
There's a TV show.
Dr. Pimple
They'll-
Popper.
yeah,
Yeah,
there
but
you go.
this is
like
Yeah.
when we were in Florida, they were like, it was either me or you, but they were both like, "Oh, we need to get that." I'm like, "What?"
Yes, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Blackheads, anything.
Yeah, can
Get
you?
right
They
up
get
in
the
your
tweezers
face and
out or
start-
what?
Yes.
get the tweezers
I
out
got
and dig in
Brittany
there.
a blackhead removal kit for me.
Yeah.
Because she's
likes
using the
it.
tweezers,
Yeah.
but she likes it. It was for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is stabbing me. Or she'll use her nails, and I'm like, look, if you're gonna do this, I'm gonna get you a Christmas present.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
way you can give me like a facial.
Make
Yeah.
this easier for me.
There's
My
tools.
wife has one that's like it's a rod, and at the end it has a ring, and the
Yeah.
inside of the ring is almost
Yeah, Katie has that
razor-like,
one.
and it
Yeah,
puts it
it's
over.
razor- Yeah, we have that.
Oh.
She has that.
This stuff is painful.
It's
It
so
is.
weird.
She had
It's
this
so
one
weird.
like sucker. I don't think it really works though.
Oh, my wife
sucker?
has that too.
Yeah,
It
I
cleans
don't
out the
think it
pores.
works. Yeah.
My wife also has one that has
let
all
Katie
the
hear this.
different green light,
Like, oh,
blue
good.
light, red
Yeah.
light, and she rubs it all over her face like she's shaving.
Amazon.com.
Yeah, I came in one day and Brittany had like these goggles on that had like red light therapy, I guess,
yeah.
for like her face.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I came in the garage door from work and I was like, oh my gosh.
What is that?
She's like, oh, it's red light therapy for my face.
It's
My wife's got
terrifying.
the mask and like all of the weird stuff, pimple poppers. And
Yeah.
the sucker thing, she doesn't have the sucker thing, but I would imagine that would be in her
Dude, so
in her
Yeah.
arsenal for sure.
in the theme of grounding and
Yeah.
like electricity and radiation
Yeah.
and EMFs, man, I recently, like I've never understood this, but I found a liking to like heating pads.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, this is cool.
Interesting.
Lay in the bed, throw a heating pad on your back and watch a movie.
Yeah.
And then Brittany has like this little like radiation detector.
Hmm.
She's like, oh my gosh, it's red. And I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, it's bad. You can't use
Putting
it.
off
I'm
a
like,
lot
I
of
just started.
radiation.
You use these all the time. I just started using them. I like them,
Yeah.
and now I can't use it. So, what do you think about that? Is it enough to hurt somebody or no?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm a big Holy Spirit guy. John 14:16. I will send you a helper. The name of this helper is called the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
If you want, trust that over any doctor, including me.
Yep.
So yeah, you do a heating pad thing and you get some kind of good benefit. Like, Evan does his colonics and he's like, man, I feel great.
Yeah.
Trust that over
That's
any
me.
doctor, including me.
It kind of
So,
goes back to what we were talking about in the previous show. How do you find a balance? And I love that you say that, and I was going to bring that up too,
Yeah.
like the Holy Spirit. Like if
Yeah.
because you find like that balance of like, if you do this for a little bit, it makes you happy. Like, because we'll have a tendency to like, again, overthink things. Everything's bad and you can't do this. And then you turn into like this recluse and you don't want to, now you don't want to go outside because you're going to breathe in the air and you can't do this because
You can find a reason not to do anything.
you can shut down. And I know some people like it really, like it'll really freak them out. And me, myself included, like I have a tendency to go like extreme with whatever I do.
Mhm.
So
I have found with my nerve injury, if I had to do it over again, this thing back to heat.
Mhm.
And I feel the same way about ibuprofen, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, Dr. Ganino, is that heat drives blood flow and causes more irritation and speeds up the healing process. And it's going to be more painful. The cold, ice therapy, the cold plunges, it will restrict blood flow, it will reduce inflammation, but it will take the pain away, but it will slow the healing process.
Interesting.
And it is my thinking on this. And the same thing with ibuprofen. Like inflammation when you're sick or when you're injured is a really good thing. It's the body's way of responding and repairing.
Sure.
And if we take NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, then we reduce that inflammation and thus slow the healing. Is that, what do you think?
Yeah,
about
I
that?
think that's every single thing I think you said is absolute truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I get asked about cold plunge all the time. I said, go have an experience. I have had the experience myself. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
So I won't be doing it.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's not good for Evan. He might do it and be
Sure.
like, oh my God, this
Sure.
is the most wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking clear. My
Yeah.
focus is better, whatever,
right.
whatever.
The dopamine
But
release.
yeah, I
Different
did
bodies need
not
different things,
did
you
not
know?
dig it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, the thing about that too is, again, if people have an over tendency of making things a fad,
Mhm.
I'm not saying it.
Sure.
like, cold plunge has definitely
It's a fad.
road-
It's a fad for
So
sure.
it's like you have guys who are like,
Yeah.
I do it every day,
Yeah.
even on vacations. I take my portable ice tub in the hotel. I fill it up, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
Are you doing
that
it
much
Yeah.
with a
benef-
selfie camera so you can
Yeah.
post your Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
respect that.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, if it
don't
makes
get
you,
me
like you said,
wrong.
if it makes you feel good, then rock with
No,
it. But if
that's
it's like
exactly
you
what I'm
have to do this or you're gonna live longer, if you don't, you're gonna
Yeah.
die.
Yeah, which
You know, I don't
there's all elements of that I think are true, and I think again it's like you had
Mhm.
mentioned, it's
Yeah.
different things work better for different people.
Exactly.
Different bodies need
Yeah.
different things. So
I think that if I mean, because I like doing it, but I don't do it daily. I tried for a little bit there. I think it's one of those things where, you do a coffee enema, maybe you do a cold plunge once a week, once a month, one of those things to shock the system.
Mhm.
I don't think that's going to hurt,
right.
but I don't,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
Studies
for sure.
suggest 11 minutes a week minimum for the best effects of cold plunging.
Hmm.
And so
11 minutes a
well,
week.
that would be
A
2
week.
minutes a day or 2
Okay.
minutes for 5 days.
Yeah.
Which is what they recommend.
yeah, that's what Huberman says on his podcast.
I like that
interesting.
upper right there. Don't drink it, just stink it. Coffee enemas.
I'm gonna buy you that shirt.
Glutathione club member. So glutathione's the strongest
Don't drink it, just
strongest antioxidant on the planet. We have it available in our office IV, but you can also take it orally. But what I take myself is called NAC, N-acetylcysteine, which is an abbreviation for an amino acid that converts to glutathione in your body. So
Mm.
yeah, good stuff.
So if you are a coffee drinker,
Mm-hmm.
because I've never heard about putting baking soda in coffee.
Yeah,
Can
just-
you do that to just
Oh,
lower the
interesting.
pH?
Just to
And
make it
drink
not
it?
as acidic. Exactly.
Oh,
And you
no,
can
no,
drink-
no.
Can't do that.
No, this is for the coffee enema.
But you can't. If I want to do that to drink it, would it have the same?
I
benefits?
wouldn't do it. I would just enjoy your. Dr. Ali says your 1 cup of coffee, and then during the day, I would be putting a scoop of that. What I do when I get to the office, I've got a 24-ounce thermos that I fill up with water, and I put 1 scoop of that in there, and I typically drink it between like breakfast and lunch and dinner. Probably the best time to do it is 2 hours after dinner, but I'm already waking up one time a night to pee, so I'm thinking if I do that, it's going to make that situation worse. So I kind of stagger it mid-morning, mid-afternoon. You want to alkalize when your stomach is empty.
Yeah.
All right. God made stomach acid to digest your food, so you don't want to alkalize when you're eating. You want to alkalize between meals.
I want to ask this for the viewers and for me.
Yeah.
If you take care of your terrain to battle these things, are
Yeah.
you worried about, is your thermos plastic? Is it BPA free? Is it metal?
What
Do
I'm
you use a
drinking out of
microwave?
presently is stainless steel, but I think glass is always best.
So
best,
glass.
If you can-
So
if you-
you're conscious about that stuff. What about microwave? Do you use a microwave?
I do use a microwave.
Oh,
I don't know how good that is, but it's my life is on a clock.
yeah.
Sometimes down to the minute.
You-
So
you
I've
do
I've
kinda
got
need
to.
Pick and choose battles, right?
You got to
yeah.
pick and choose your battles.
Yeah.
You got to
Um,
pick and choose your battles. Yeah, I was just just remembering when Allie was first breaking out in Hollywood, and she was on with Mario Lopez, and they had a thing, and she had her coffee there, and I'm like, dang it, she's the daughter of a
Oh,
wellness doctor.
yeah.
She got her
Yeah.
coffee
Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
And her mom said, you got to
gotta
pick
choose your battles.
pick your
pick and
battles.
Well, if you have a healthy
Yeah.
terrain,
I mean,
you could do
she's
that,
out
right?
there not doing drugs,
Yeah.
not doing
No, of
this,
course,
not
of
doing.
course,
I'm
yeah.
like, pick your battles.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the truth about kids. That's what we're all 3 dealing with right now
Oh,
is
yeah,
the
man.
negotiation with the terrorists, man.
All
Dude,
the
really.
time.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like
like you gotta-
negotiations
Yeah.
nonstop. Dr. G, I want to ask you too. I would imagine when you are choosing coffee for a coffee enema, brand and
Oh, good
type
question.
of coffee is probably pretty important, right?
Well,
Do you have a brand you like?
I don't have a brand per se.
Are you
but,
doing Folgers?
But
Are you doing Folgers?
ground with caffeine,
Ground
or-
with caffeine.
organic.
Okay.
Why
organic,
with the caffeine?
ground with caffeine. It's the caffeine that is the stimulus
binder?
for your
No,
It's
the
the stimulus for
okay.
your liver to dump the toxins.
So you want ground coffee. Is there a case for buying like whole bean and grinding it up yourself and having it be like a fresher grind?
100% fine if you want to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, and truthfully, my 1 cup at the house this morning was freshly ground.
Okay.
Have
you heard
But on Mondays, when I go up to do my coffee enema, it's already ground
Okay.
organic with caffeine. So
Have you heard of, is it green coffee?
Yeah.
Do you know about this?
Well, this is just
Where-
the bean before it gets roasted.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So is that,
And
I had
it-
always heard that that's a thing to do for enemas like that. Have you heard about this?
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know
I
if it's
think-
even.
I think one of the things that they're concerned about with the roasting of the bean, and this is for anything that we cook at high temperatures for an
Mhm.
extended period of time,
Yeah.
is the neurotoxin acrylamide accrues in these things. And,
Okay.
and it's a very powerful one and
Mm.
probably one of the worst neurotoxins, I think.
Interesting.
And so
okay.
people who drink a lot of coffee, especially the cheaper brands, have high amounts of acrylamide, and their stuff tastes burnt because they want consistency.
That's what yes,
and so
exactly.
it could have
does.
high amounts of acrylamide,
It does. Can we talk about something a little bit weird with Men's Health?
as if butt
As if
enemas
we
aren't
haven't- oh.
coffee enemas aren't
I feel
enough.
like we're
get
going to
weird with
level it up a
Let's
little
get
bit. I
weird
feel
with
like
it,
we're going
bro.
to go weirder.
Okay, let's do it.
Can we talk about the link between high testosterone in men
Mhm.
and semen retention? Do you know anything about this? Have you heard about this at all?
You
Um,
went there. You did. it.
I haven't heard about
we
it.
were
and
there with-
I haven't
we're
heard about
going.
it until today when you guys
When we were
when you
talking
guys
about it.
taught me about it. But
So
I do.
I'll set it up.
Okay.
I've got a close friend who has been practicing semen retention, and he just went and got his levels checked, and his testosterone was through the roof. It
Mhm.
was around 1100.
Mhm.
Now he's 45, 46 or so.
Which is
No, actually, no, he's not. He's
Yeah,
older
he's-
than that. I'm
yeah.
sorry. He's 50.
And how long was the retention process?
Now, so I don't know exactly. I want to say it's been over a month though. Is this a good idea? Is there any science behind this? Is there
Well, again, I can't speak specifically to the question, but I will say this. To me, normal sex drive is something that's crossing your mind at least once a week, if not once a day. So
For a
that
male.
ought to be
Yeah.
the frequency of evacuation, if you will.
okay?
And I think it's healthier for the prostate to do that,
I've heard that too.
to
Actually,
exercise it,
Yeah.
if you will. Now, I do want to, we talked about men's health, so we've talked about colon already. We've talked about prostate. I do want to talk about testosterone per se, because it's a hot topic.
yeah.
First off, in our office, this is how it goes. Number one, low testosterone is elective. As an example, my testosterone personally, some years ago, was low. We like 350 to 850 for a male, and mine was around 300.
Is that in general, or is that
that's
divided up by ages?
That's no, that's in
okay,
general.
just in general. Okay, got it.
Mhm.
Well, then also too, Doc, doesn't
Yeah.
it swing? So if it's higher in the morning, lower
Yep,
throughout the
it
day.
can-
So
it can move
depending on when you took your
when
labs,
you check it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
No. So number one, testosterone therapy is elective. When my testosterone was low at that time in my life, not aware of how I could have any more energy, focus, concentration, memory, no issues, sexually, no issues. At that point in my life, I chose the approach of taking no testosterone at all.
hmm
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Okay.
Now, I was able to move it from 300 to 400, and its present value of 404 with exercise.
Okay.
Okay.
Number two, testosterone miracles discussed. So at the present moment, we have 10 women and 30 men for a total of 40 total patients with low testosterone that we've normalized their testosterone either by taking them off gluten or putting them on the 3 supplements that support MTHFR, the
Okay.
body's major detox enzyme, and or doing their metals test
Mhm.
and subsequently chelating out their metals. 40 patients with low testosterone that we've normalized their testosterone with 0 pills, 0 pellets, 0 cream, 0, 0,
Wow.
0, and 0. Pretty great.
Yeah.
Now, lastly, let's say that a person is low and they do want to do therapy, whether it's cream or shots or this or that. I'm not against pellets. I'm against pellet overdose.
Okay.
Okay.
So 350 to 850. But the doctor gets more money for the more pellets that they put in the patient.
hmm
And Dr. Ganino's bias is greed.
Mhm.
So at the present time in our practice, these are patients that were testosterone outside of our building that we have as patients.
Mhm.
3 female heart attacks, 1 male heart attack. He's
Ooh.
dead. A male with a pulmonary embolism with a testosterone of 900. 3 strokes. And a lady from St. Petersburg, Florida, named Donna, that was pelleted, and she developed 6 pulmonary emboli.
Oh.
They took her to surgery. They evacuated 3 of her clots surgically. She went to the ICU and she lived. Testosterone 635.
Wow.
That's a female that we like our females between 15 and 60.
Oh,
Hers
wow.
was
Hers
635. Mine is
Whoa.
404.
Jeez.
So it's not about greed. It's not about killing the patient.
Mm.
It's about having a healthy testosterone level. So
Wow.
males 350 to 850, females 15 to 60. You're not going to have any problems in those ranges.
Because if you don't have healthy testosterone levels, what are some of the
Oh, well, everybody,
side
of course, everybody's, sex. It's all about sex, right? And that, without a doubt, that's affected. But actually, low testosterone can affect your memory, your energy.
Mood too, right? Isn't there,
Energy,
like-
mood.
Yeah.
I think there's actually more dementia with people with low testosterone. So yeah.
For mood, I thought this was interesting. So Paul Saladino has a product called Heart and Soil, I believe. And the past couple weeks, honestly, probably past couple months, I've not been working out. And I've felt it in my mood, particularly, and just my cognitive ability, honestly. Just I'm slow. I'm not as like sharp, I feel like. But my wife bought Heart and Soil. It's called Mood and Brain Balance, I believe. And it's a combination of healthy animal brain and I think, is it liver and heart? It's game changer.
Oh, good.
I feel amazing.
That's
I feel
awesome.
sharper.
How
I
about
feel
that?
clear. Now, obviously, this isn't, you should still be working out, obviously, but this stuff
It's
is
not whole package,
kind of
is
amazing.
it? That
No,
one has testicle in it.
it's
Well,
oh,
what
nice,
about?
does it?
I mean, you
Right there,
telling
that
me I
one.
can't just
Mood
be
and
like the
brain.
liver
Mood,
king?
memory, and brain.
Eat liver.
Just eat
So
liver.
what's in
and-
it?
It has
So it's-
grass-fed and finished brain, bone marrow, and liver.
Okay, yeah.
The brain parts, Ganino, you might be interested. Cortex, hypothalamus, pituitary, and pineal gland.
about
Pineal
that?
gland.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
I've heard good things. I've wanted to take the whole package and see, because he takes that every day. Saladino
Yeah,
does.
right. So also, my son who has asthma started taking lower doses of their histamine and
Oh, yeah.
airway thing, I think it's called.
Yeah.
It seems like it's done a number on him.
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah,
That's
has
awesome,
has
dude.
really helped out. Now, to be fair, he's been doing a bunch of other things as well. So
Did you
I don't
try
know
the
how
bananas?
much is this.
Sure.
Yeah, we did.
what?
Eliminated bananas. Again, this entire thing he's been
Eliminated
doing really
bananas?
great on this. Histamine and immune right there. Really good stuff and has helped him a ton. So
Did you say
Cool.
bananas?
yeah, so actually Brett mentioned this. Bananas are high in something that creates histamine, right?
They're not a high histamine food. They have a trigger that when you eat them, it releases the histamine in your body. And so I remember on a previous podcast that I did with you guys where I said I'll eat fruit and honey at night and
Yeah.
I'll have a flare up in my lungs.
Yeah.
And my
Oh, how
asthma
about
will
that?
come back. And you said, really, with fruit and honey? And I said, yeah. And then I read this about bananas and I eliminated the bananas from my diet for about 10 days. And I didn't have one problem eating
Wow.
fruit and honey at night. I had no inflammation in the lungs, didn't need the
Interesting.
inhaler.
That is.
And then I ate a banana in the middle of the day and I went for a run and I told Evan I was wheezing and the run was extremely
Wow,
hard.
There you go.
Weird, isn't that
And
crazy?
It's just
that's
a
a,
histamine
that's
trigger.
that's a strange thing, but yep, that's your experience.
With
so there
with,
it is.
with like your treatments and things like that and your diet protocol, how are you on fructose? Like bananas, fruits, certain fruits, certain
well,
you
it
do or not do.
Again, if you're Superman or Supergirl, you're a teenager or you're in your 20s, I would say, eat whatever fruit you want. We don't really believe in fruit juice just because it's so
Yeah.
sugary
heard
and
this.
there's no fiber.
Right.
So it
Yeah.
spikes you through the roof, which is their high insulin that Brett's talking about and all that.
Mhm.
So yeah, we don't believe in fruit juice. But if you're a cancer patient, I actually I got trained on mistletoe at Emory University in Atlanta in February of 23, and my new hero, if you will, is a naturopath, actually a female named Dr. Nasha Winters, who's survived stage 4 ovarian cancer for 32 years.
Whoa.
Going into that meeting with her, for our cancer patients, we were allowing blueberry, blackberry, and Granny Smith apple. So when she was training me, I said, Dr. Winters, do you allow any fruit on your diet? She said only 3. Blueberry, blackberry, and Granny Smith
Interesting,
apple. So I was like,
interesting.
okay, well, that's really, thank you, Lord, for that confirmation. So there's that extreme, and then there's, the eat anything you want.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So Brett's pulling up our Instagram page here. We've been lucky enough that we've had a couple videos pop off and go viral. One of them was from you. And
It
again,
was this
just,
Helleborus niger.
yeah, this prostate miracle I was telling you guys about used Helleborus. So Evan in the last show was talking about hope for cancer patients. And again, we also talked about screening. We talked about mammograms. We talked about colonoscopy and things like that, because if you can catch these things early, lots of times you can cure them with surgery and you're not going to need chemo and radiation.
Okay.
So this particular patient from Newport News, Virginia, is 84 years old, and he's got metastatic prostate cancer. So this is a prostate cancer that has, escaped the confines of the prostate and is now spreading through his body. The tumor marker for that is called a PSA. That should be ideally below 4. My dad died with a PSA of 1,272.
Gosh.
December 5th of 2024, this patient, his first name is Virgil, his PSA was 514. And with no surgery, no chemo, no radiation, his PSA on January 14th of 2025, so this is 5 weeks later, was 100. So it went from 517 to 100 in 5 weeks. Talk about hope. The winning formula, Kaufman Phase 1 diet. This is Doug Kaufman from a show called Know the Cause. Mistletoe abeatus, sub-Q, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Oral superoxide dismutase. It's a free radical scavenger. I think Mark mentioned earthing a little bit ago.
Yeah.
Connect your bare feet to Mother Earth and suck up electrons through your feet, which neutralizes free radicals that cause cancer. So he did earthing 10 minutes a day, prayer every day.
Wow.
Intravenous vitamin C, which we do in our office. IV alpha lipoic acid, which we do in our office. Updraft amphotericin B. This is an antifungal taken through a nebulizer to clear any fungus in his lungs. Hellebores niger, which is the Christmas rose.
The Christmas rose, like we talked about here,
Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and nasal oxygen. That was the formula for.
Now, this was not the gentleman
Virgil
who you were talking about, I think, in this video. This was...
Now, this is absolutely not the same guy because this miracle was 2 days ago.
Gotcha.
Breast in July, they basically said you're going on hospice because you're dying. Her story got worse. I mean, she's still alive. Went to the hospital.
Awesome,
she got sick. She had a pneumothorax. They put a chest tube in. You imagine the trauma that this kid is going through, right? But she did those 3 things, giving herself injection of a different tree called Hellebores niger, which is the Christmas rose. Christ.
Oh, interesting.
Rose only blooms at Christmas time.
Okay.
No kidding.
Hellebores injection.
Yeah.
Hellebores updraft. So she had metastasis to her lungs. So she was breathing this Hellebores in a nebulizer. And without my permission, she's shooting her axillary lymph nodes with Hellebores niger. And most importantly, in my opinion, prayer. She just went out. Evan, they tell me I'm dying. I'd like you to pray for me. I saw her back in September. We repeated her tumor markers. No chemo, no surgery, radiation. And every one of them was at least half, if not 2/3 less than it was.
Praise God.
Crazy, right? Yeah, and importantly, everyone, that lady's still alive. Her first name is Carrie, and she's still here. And it's January of 2025 now. Amen. And she was given the death sentence in June of 2024. So.
Well, look, we agree with Renee.
Poisonous,
Make America healthy again, she has, but she says this is poisonous. Would you like to respond?
Yeah, I'd love, Renee, to respond to you. John 14:16, I will send you a helper. The name of the helper is called the Holy Spirit. If you want, you can choose to trust that over every doctor, including Dr. John Ganino. Have an experience. My first trainer in integrative medicine was Dr. Majid Ali, who said science is observation. Right? If Evan Kaufman does a colonic, and when he gets done, he feels better and lighter and has more energy and he's thinking clearer, he can choose to trust that over what any TikTok video or any doctor is trying to shove up his rear end as far as it's scary, it's not safe, it's dangerous.
That's a very, very, I think, valid point. And something to kind of like discuss, like take that lead from the Holy Spirit, from
Renee,
God, from prayer.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to take this. I don't want. No,
well, and that's the thing too. I mean, like on a platform like this, everybody's going to have their own thoughts, which is fine. You know, bring it on. We love it.
That short got 23,783 likes,
and is on its way to 500,000 views.
500,000 people have seen that.
That's really cool.
PSA moving from 514 to 100 in 5 weeks with no surgery, no chemo, and no radiation. Dr. Ganino, that's not possible. No. Matthew 19:26, Luke 1:37, Mark 10:27. Through God, all things are possible. And part of what created Virgil's miracle was daily prayer.
Amen.
And part of what created Virgil's miracle was subcutaneous Hellebores niger comp C 3 days a week.
And it's cool too, because it's like proof God can use anything. If it's not these treatments, it'll be something entirely different, and it will work.
When you pray fervently, I mean, it's like the apostles did in the first church. I mean, they literally, by the grace of God, and their faith in him, miracles happen. When Peter was in prison and the chains broke off of him and he walks out past the guards, I mean, they were in the room praying without ceasing. You will get healed by a miracle through medicine and supplements and dieting. And ultimately, when we go to meet our maker, we will be free from any ailments.
That's beautiful, man. Well said. Well said. Well, should we land the plane?
That's a good ender right there.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys can find Dr. Ganino at Ganino Wellness. Is that right?
GaninoWellness.com.
On Facebook
That's
and Instagram, GaninoWellness.com. You can find us at CounterCause. If you guys enjoy this video, please like it. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share it with a friend. It really helps us. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll catch you guys on the next one.